Canadian officials responding as the United States twists the tariff knife one more time.
We're dealing with a very unpredictable U.S. administration. We're not the only ones. That's the case also for every single country on this planet.
Despite what the president may say, Canada has many important cards in these negotiations.
The president is now threatening a 35% tariff on Canadian goods that are not compliant with the free trade agreement known as CUSMA starting August 1st, an escalation in a trade war that Donald Trump seemed to claim Canada welcomed.
It was sent yesterday. They called. I think it was fairly well received, but it's what we need. So we'll see what happens.
For a product to be CUSMA compliant, it needs to meet certain standards governing how much of it is produced in North America. Then there's the paperwork. Economists estimate more than 90% of Canadian exports qualify. But it's another whiplash moment in negotiations. In a statement, the Prime Minister says Canada is now working towards a revised deadline of August 1st to get a deal done.
He said that he would have a deal at the G7, and then it became a deal by the 21st of July, and now we see it's delayed again to August the 1st. And we want to know what the plan is to put an end to the tariff chaos.
A national security expert says these threats can't be taken lightly.
I think in the face of these worst ever threats from the Trump administration, which are very escalatory, that we now really have to get serious about what we can do to push back against American demands.
So far, Ottawa has resisted calls to respond with more counter tariffs.
We're making sure that we're doing this economic diplomacy, which usually would not necessarily be the case in a normal world, but we're not in normal times.
The Carney government has refused to share what's happening behind closed doors, saying it won't negotiate in public. The Prime Minister's office says officials from both sides met recently, in fact, just hours before Trump's letter came out.
And Kate, we know the Prime Minister is calling a cabinet meeting to discuss the trade war.
Yeah, that's happening next Tuesday, and Carney is now slated to join the premiers when they meet in Ontario later this month. But the proof will be in the pudding. Is this latest threat a negotiation tactic, or is it something that Trump is seriously planning on doing? Canada appears to be opting to stay the course for now, but the federal government has already made a concession in dropping the digital services tax at Trump's request.
Thanks for this, Kate. Kate McKenna in Ottawa. Catherine Cullen is also in our parliamentary bureau tonight. Catherine, in Kate's story, we heard from Pierre Poilievre. That was from an interview with you this evening. What else did he have to say about the trade war?
Well, Christine, he's suggesting that the Conservatives both want to help, but also that Mark Carney needs to prove he has a plan. Poilievre wants a parliamentary committee called back with the suggestion that they could assist with negotiations. He did say he doesn't think Carney's deadline for talks is helpful, arguing that Donald Trump will try to take advantage of it. And he says he's told Carney he will help with U.S. lawmakers, too.
I have talked to numerous lawmakers and advocated for the Canadian position. But we haven't formally engaged in traveling to the U.S. at this point. But I told the Prime Minister that we as Canadian Conservatives, we put our country first, and we're prepared to work with anybody from any party to get a good deal for Canada.
Catherine, this was Poilievre's first national interview with CBC News since becoming party leader 3 years ago. What else stood out for you?
Well, Christine, we talked about his Alberta by-election run and why he believes he deserves a second chance. He points to the votes his party gained in this election compared to the last, asked how he then explains losing his own riding here in Ottawa. Poilievre blamed it on so many public servants living in the riding, suggesting he was transparent about cutting back the civil service and arguing that the Liberals weren't.
All right, Catherine, thanks for that.